What's up, Eddie C? We're back.
What's up, Chris P? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Back. How do you spell back again? B
BAQ.
BAQ. That's right. Everybody has done 8 million different sayings and quotes with back, but we're having a pretty good back time here. Ever since we left Saratoga, we've been pretty consistent here on the pay sheets.
Yes, we have been, and I'm really excited for this weekend. What a great card we got going on at Royal Aqueduct.
Royal
That's
Ac-
what I'm.
Ac-
Royal Aqueduct. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm going with.
So first, before we start, thoughts and prayers to everybody that was impacted by the hurricane down in Florida, and I know you're down there now. What's the latest?
Yeah, I fortunately, when I left Saratoga, I stopped here in the Fort Myers area. We have a family home here that we're doing some work on. We're going to be selling it. Excuse me. And then last Tuesday, when I saw that the hurricane was coming, I drove down to my home in Miami and just drove back up here after the hurricane. And where our home is here, we're about 45 minutes off the coast, about 25 miles off the coast. And it was here. It just looked like a really strong storm went by. A lot of branches, some trees down, just a lot of debris everywhere. And fortunately, the water we did get some flooding, but it didn't get into our house. But I tried to drive 20 minutes west towards the beaches, towards Fort Myers. I got about halfway there. It looks like a war zone. It's undescribable. It's something that I kind of feel helpless about. Obviously, feel lucky, but for those that weren't as fortunate, I can't imagine what they're going through and what they're going to be continually going through for the next 6 months to a year. It's just a
Yep.
disaster.
So I mean, it's. I mean, I guess that goes with the territory down there. You guys are always dealing with hurricanes, like we deal with some of the nonsense that happens in the winter. But you guys are used to some of that stuff. But the good news is, we have some horse racing to take everybody's minds off all the stuff going on around the world, and that's what I enjoy. Is you have a long week at work, and I can take a break and spend time on, especially a Saturday is my day. It's like my horse racing day. But I want to share some good news with everybody. And the good news is we've got a website up, Eddie.
That's right. That's fantastic. You put in a lot of hard work into getting this up, so I appreciate it, and I hope all our fans and followers appreciate it and start going on the site and getting comfortable and acclimated with it.
Yep, absolutely. And if the web address, if you haven't found us already, www.pacesheets.com is your address, and it's pretty easy to navigate. I mean, this is the home screen. What I would say to you is make sure that you subscribe. I just want to let everybody know that all the subscribers that are out there that we've got in the first week and a half of the site being up, they all received BAQ today for Friday. And how are the pay sheets today, Eddie, for BAQ?
Well, I was talking with you earlier about it, and I talked to our boy Walter about it, and I had a pretty good day doing it. I hit four of the first six exactas. Just missed out on a pick three ticket that would have been nice, but I could make an argument that out of the nine races you could have come up with seven exactas and seven winners.
Yeah, I
So they
noticed the
were
back. Sorry, I noticed the back speed angle really seemed to be churning today. I didn't play the
yes.
races today, but I was looking at it and having either the best back speed gap horse either won the race or came in second. I think that seemed like it was pretty automatic today.
Yeah, and I say this almost every time we talk about this. I had my notebook picks that I set up. I didn't post them today. I will post them tomorrow, but I handicapped the card myself. Then I looked at the pace sheets, and I always say use the pace sheets as a tool. Use notebooks as a tool. Combine them with your handicapping. But I used that gap in the late speed a few times today, and it worked. I mean, when I see that gap, so I'm learning how to use this better and better and better each week. And today I had my best day since Saratoga, so it was a nice day. Maybe I'll send you over a gallon of vanilla bean ice cream for as a thanks.
That's probably the last thing I need, Eddie. But looking at, I just wanted to share the website real quick overview. Right on the home screen, if you get down to the bottom, it actually features. And if you're watching, BAQ tomorrow for Saturday is already up. Churchill was on here again. All the subscribers actually got the link emailed to them. They got BAQ today. There's a lot of great stuff. Me and Eddie on the Capital OTB show. We get our live feed from the SpotPlays on Twitter if you're interested. And all our latest videos are right here, and this will be part of it as well. And I also want to share on the top, if you just want to go to the store is in here. It works pretty good. So we have all the information there. And then the other thing was an ad this week, and I think this actually looks pretty good. It actually came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. But we have a feed in here for all the news that's going on. My internet connection has been bad today. I don't know what's going on. And then if you don't understand the PaceSheets and everything, there's a how-to. There's a tutorial on there. You can watch the video if you don't like reading, but there is also a reference document on there as well. And I was going to show something, Eddie, that I guess we're going to wait till I get into the race because I want to explain what a couple things that new ads that I put on the bottom of the pace sheets. And as we continue to build and I get feedback and stuff from other handicappers on what they want, and I'll certainly share that at that time.
And also, as opposed to tweeting out both the pace sheets and notebook picks, come to our website. You'll be able to pick them both up there. And yeah, you have to go to the shop, but just remember, right now everything is free for you guys. So we're trying to give you a service, get you guys up to speed, ramp you up, and I think we got some more special things ahead of us leading up to the Breeders' Cup.
I just want people to pick more winners and cash more tickets, like myself.
Attaboy.
That's what I want, Eddie. That's what I want more than anything. So Let's get into this card. I mean, tomorrow is a big race day, Belmont at Aqueduct. There's 4 graded stakes races. I think there's actually a few other stakes races. So I mean, it's a pretty loaded card. And actually this would be like a typical Saturday, I think, at Saratoga. When I look at the quality of it, and everybody knows that Life is Good is racing. So that's the big part. There's a couple races before we get into the stakes, because you're my maiden guy. You know the maidens pretty well inside and out. I wanted you to give you a chance just to go over a couple of the maidens tomorrow. I'm going to pull them up here on the PPs, but you wanted to talk about the second race, Eddie?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the second and the fifth race. They're both maiden special weight races for 2-year-olds. The second is for 2-year-old fillies on the turf, and the fifth is for 2-year-old colts. You know, the thing about today's the card at Aqueduct, it's really for the 2-year-olds. It's a special day that they do every year, and this year they're running the Woodward for the first time because that's always been run at Saratoga. So they did a little trade-off in races. One went to Saratoga, and the Woodward went to Royal Aqueduct for this year. So one of the things I love doing is looking at breeding. So that's why I love the 2-year-old races quite a bit. And in this second race, it's a 1 1/16 for 2-year-old fillies. Many of these are going this distance for the very first time. But this race right here, I'm looking at breeding and looking at combinations. I like in this one the 5-horse, Justifiable Bell. No surprise here. This is Pletcher and JJ Castellano combination. They're hitting at 24% when they run together for the past year. You know, Justifiable Bell obviously is out of Justify, who's out of Scat Daddy, and on the dam side out of Giants Causeway. This horse is regally bred for the turf and for the distance. And last time out, 1 1/16 at Saratoga, this horse came second, but was bumped late, was really moving pretty good late. So I like it second time back, and has had some really solid works since. And then I'm going to use a price for second, and that's a horse called Nikes, the 3-horse. This is a Mott Lascano combination. They're hitting at 26% at back. So that's obviously a really nice number there. This is out of a Go Sapper sire, who obviously, again, I love, Deputy Minister lineage, out of a Smart Strike dam. This horse is the best bred horse for the breeding, for the turf and distance at this race. Morning line 10-1. Lots of really good works. One thing I did notice about this horse, there's a gap in its works because he's got about 10, 12 works leading into this. There's a gap in the works from August 14th until September 8th. So almost a full month break. Normally I don't like that leading up, but his last 3 works since really are solid. You look at that work on September 8th, 48-4. Then he had another one, 49-4. And then his last work, I really liked it. 102, but he did it out of the gate. So I really like to see a good gate work like that coming, starting out. They don't have a run up. So even though you see 5 furlongs in 102, he was 3 out of 18. So obviously a really super solid work there. So in this race, I'm going 5-3. And the 5, by the way, is 7-2 morning line. So if it stays around there, which I don't think it will, I think it's going to get bet down. There's some other good horses in this race, but that's who I landed on.
Okay. And Eddie, I just wanted to just comment. These some of these numbers I don't use a ton, but I see when somebody sticks out on a gap. But the DPI index number that they give you is actually on that 3 is pretty high. It's a 3.82, and I like the listen. I like the 5.2. That would be my top pick. My favorite angle out there. This is why I never used to like maidens. I was one of those guys. I hated maiden races. Whenever the number one angle for me that just works is, and I guess it makes a lot of sense, is when a horse finishes second in a maiden race, because technically they already beat all the other horses, right? So typically they fire, and it seems like they just win their fair share of the next races out.
Oh, no question. And especially since he had a pretty clean trip. I watched the replay as I try to do always. But, he just got bumped late and it kind of took away a little momentum. Not sure that he would have won. But first time out going like he did, that's a pretty good finish. Like I said, they started out at mile and a 16th. The only thing about it that I'm a little confused about, unless Saez is somewhere else, I don't remember if I saw him later on in the card, but he rode him at Saratoga. Now he gets JJ. Obviously, I'm not going to debate who's better between the two. They're 2 of the top jockeys out there, and they're both very capable. So I like the fact that Pletcher got JJ on him, and because Saez either went somewhere else or decided not to ride him, I'm not sure.
Okay, so give me this 5th race is one. This is one here I think is interesting because I'm interested to see who you like, because a lot of first time starters. It's obviously it's a 2-year-old race, but a lot of them are just racing for the first time.
Sure, and to all our followers and listeners out there that are watching along, one of the reasons I really like maiden special weights is I have created a spreadsheet on certain sires, their lineage, the horses they've produced, their capabilities first time out, the jockey trainer combinations with 2-year-olds. So I just love doing that because it makes me delve in and keep learning something about horses over and over and over again. So, and we're doing this too because the PaceSheets doesn't have the data yet to input this into the PaceSheets. We will get there soon, but this is why I love doing this. So in race 5, I tried to look for value here, but what really jumped off the page to me was 2 hot young sires that have done super well with 2-year-olds starting out, and they were very good horses in their own right. I'm going to start with the 4. Excuse me. I'm going to start with the 4 horse as my top pick. Limits of Power. You got Shug McGahee with Dylan Davis, and in case you guys don't know, Shug has kind of adopted Dylan, I believe, as his first call jock. So I think this is a great career opportunity for Dylan to be riding for Shug. This is 2-year-old colts going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. Limits of Power is by Good Magic, who's out of Curlin. And I'm not doing this strictly because it's out of the deputy minister lineage. Look up the stats of Good Magic with his, I think it was his first year crop. He was one of the top 3 or 4, I believe. Super good. And he's out of a Vindication mare. Lots of really strong works at Belmont, which I like that. He's been down there locally. And look at his work one back. Not his last work, but one back. 47 flat going for 4 furlongs. 1 out of 153 starters. and he did it breezing. I mean, that just jumps off the page. That and if you look back on it, his last work after that was like a nice little tightener just to get him ready. So limits of power. I really like this horse. And then the 3 horse is Mount Up. Now Mount Up's out of another strong first crop sire, Army Mule. This horse is out of Frisian Fire and out of a Macklin Music's mare. This horse, Army Mule, is turning out to be super good. You got Pletcher and Pratt together on this. They're 24% combination for the year, which obviously that's super good. Lots of really steady works as well at Belmont for this. These are 2 of the top first time or young sires out there for 2-year-olds. I went with breeding on this and the works that obviously stand out. So I'm going 4-3 here. The the 4's 4-1 morning line. The 3's 3-1 morning line. If they stay around there, I'll accept those prices and do something with them.
Yeah, I just, it's funny you said that about the Army Mule. I was going to say something today because I didn't pay attention today, but I noticed that Army Mule actually had a couple maiden winners today. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna run the stats on Army Mule and I'll see where that one's at. But he's certainly on the radar for sure.
And his progeny are running good, short and long. So that's another thing to look at. And and again, both of these sires are super good young sires. Good Magic obviously was a top class horse. I think he was 2-year-old juvenile of the year, right? He won the Breeders' Cup, I think,
Yeah, I don't remember,
in
but
racing.
so let's get into the stakes races. And I know it seems like it's a lot of chalk here and how we're gonna beat chalk. So I'm curious here, Eddie. Are you gonna try and beat Life is Good in the Woodward?
I'm more curious to see how big the gap is on PaceSheets with this horse. Look, Life is Good. I've tried beating him a few times. I did beat him once. I tried beating him the last time out. Maybe not the smartest of move. He looked like a monster, and I was talking with our boy Walter about this, and we said, if Life is Good, if the Breeders' Cup Classic turns out to be Life is Good, uh, Jesus, I'm forgetting the other horses we talked about now. I'm drawing a blank here. Uh, who's the horse that's on Flightline? Life is Good, Flightline, Epicenter, and Taiba. If it turns out to just be those 4 horses and only a 4-horse field, what a 4-horse field that would be. I mean, you're talking about that's how good Life is Good is. I'm putting him in the category of arguably the top 4 horses out there, and 3 of them are 3-year-olds. So I don't know how they beat this horse. It's a small field. This horse is probably going to go to the front and not look back. If you're looking for a horse for second place, I kind of like the 2 Law Professor a little bit. Uh, this may be a single in multi-race wagering for me, or I could go everybody but Life is Good. God forbid something happens and he doesn't win, but I'm probably not going to do that because I got some other prices in a couple of races.
Okay. Listen, I look at this race and I'm trying to figure out a scenario here that I can paint. The only thing I can think of is I think the other horse that's the early speed, Thomas Shelby.
Yep.
And I think let me see if I can pull this up. So here's the pace sheets here. Let me get rid of that thing on the front here. So when I look at the pace sheets and I look at what we've got going on here, the only thing I look at this field. It's not a very good field. Number one, I cannot make a case that even a lot of these horses are even grade 3 stakes winner horses. They're not even that quality. To me, it's like they're in betweeners between a allowance and a grade 3, whatever you want to call them. We'll call them tweeners. There's a load of those. I can make a case that maybe the 4 may be a grade 3 horse. I mean, the horse has raced a lot of grade 1s, finished second, grade 2s.
Keep in
But
mind, it's a hard knocking horse. I mean,
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just he's also
well, I
what
mean,
I mean.
Chris, look at it this way. Life is Good has 8 wins in 1 second out of 10 races. look at the two races that he lost. Though number one, he lost at Dubai, okay, which that happens. But the thing is, the horses come back from Dubai as good or better than he did. And most horses don't do that. The only other horse that I remember doing that, Silver Charm may have come back okay, but was Gunrunner, which is obviously what yours and mine, one of our top sires, one of our favorite sires. Life is good. I can almost start putting it in that Gunrunner kind of conversation. And then the other race he lost was at the Alan Jerkins last year at Saratoga, and he got beat by a horse called Jackie's Warrior, who was peaking at the right time. And we know that Jackie's Warrior has turned out to be a top flight horse. So he's beaten everybody, including Nick's Go at the at the Pegasus World Cup last year. So this is a top quality horse. I don't think it gets the credit he deserves. I know that I've kind of held back on it. I'm not holding back on it. This is a special horse.
All right. So I read it because I wanted to actually share a couple things on this too to do with the pay sheet. So let me share the screen here on this. If I gotta get it back again now.
I'll try to be quiet. I'll try to be quiet for once.
I don't think that's gonna work, Eddie. Come on, come on. So first off, I just wanted to acknowledge done thousands of races, and of course that damn thing just stopped again. Done thousands of races. I have not seen a gap like this in a lot of races that I've looked at, I've reviewed, I've gone back to train my eyes in a lot of these things. And when I look at this race, I mean, Life is Good jumps off the screen, and that's the story it tells me. And I guess I'm not looking to share any secrets here that nobody already doesn't know. I mean, I'm curious the fact the projected pace is fast. I don't know if it's closer fast though. The only question I have is when I look at the bottom here, Thomas Shelby, the three, can Thomas Shelby run with Life is Good long enough to drain the tank to let the four Keep in Mind go by? I don't know, but that's the only way I think I'm going on this, just because and look at the gap in the late speed, Eddie.
Well, so here's the thing. Let's talk about that for a second. Number one, the three horse Tom Shelby, he's out of Curlin. Curlin's one of my top deputy minister type sires that I love. Curlin, that horse is won at all distances as well, and he's throwing horses that win at all distances. But the late speed graphic, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Life is Good has been wrapped up in a lot of those. So, you again, this is why we say collectively all the time, use this as a tool, because Life is Good late speed might be actually the best late speed in this race, even though he's the best early speed, because he's got such a big lead. He gets wrapped up and just coasts home. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Listen, I was spending a lot of time on this one, but I really don't think this is much of a race. I mean, I think we just got to acknowledge that Life is Good is really good. And I wanted to share something on this other side here, if everybody can key in on this for a minute. So I'm big on the form. Horses out of form, you can probably make the case. That's one of the things in horse racing that's most consistent. Horses out of form do not win. I guess sometimes it can happen, but it's very rare. So you got to find a horse that's in form. Typically, horses coming off long layoffs, we all know, doesn't work too well. So there's a couple things you can look at for indicators. The number in parentheses, that's the number of days between races from last race to this race. Whoops. That's number one. The second thing you'll see is you'll see a little star. Basically, what that is, it's another algorithm that just tells you that based on some kind of old school stuff, looking at some different things, that based on the last race, that horse is in form and it's ready to rock and roll. The only caution I would throw out at the wind is if you got a horse that's coming back too early, or if you got a horse that's had some time off, 60 days, 50 something days, that's where I get a little cautious about that. Another thing that I wanted to share that just works. Another one of those numbers that just things that just works. When you have a horse that's top three in last race speed rating and then top three at that distance, when it goes on both of those things, that's where you get an X in that box. So just something I want you to pay attention to. I don't know if we're going to keep it on there or whatnot. This is all test mode right now, but it's
Chris,
some information. Go ahead.
real quick, talk about like on the two horse. He's got the asterisk,
Hmm.
which means he's in form. And then what does it mean that number 2 next to him, next to
I
the
jumped.
asterisk?
I jumped ahead. So that means he's the second off a layoff. So we all know the
Okay,
cycles. Second
right.
off a layoff. If you see a 3, it's third off a layoff.
That's
Personally,
great. That's a great addition to this. That's fantastic.
that's personally how we're going to do. And one of the things me and Eddie are going to talk about offline is how do we get the works in there, because I want to get the works as part of this, and still thinking about stuff. If anybody has any feedback or anything, don't be afraid to share. I always love feedback. So I'm life is good. I'm Eddie. I'm one single one, obviously. 4, I maybe he's got a 10% chance. I don't know what that equals in odds, but um, and then I've got the 2 and the 3. But I think this is all about life is good.
Yeah, I mean, this is a race I don't think you get too cute unless you got really strong opinions in all the other races and you want to throw out life is good in case something happens in multi-race and pick fours, pick fives, something like that. Go at it, but I think this is a single horse that allows you to spread in a couple of other races, even though I believe there's another single in the Champagne, and we'll get there.
Okay. So Eddie, let's go to race number 8, which is the Grade 2 Miss Grillo Stakes, a mile and an eighth on the turf.
Is it mile and eighth or mile and 16th?
Did I write down the wrong thing?
Mile and 16th.
All right, maybe I did write down the wrong thing. All right, mile and a
Okay,
16th.
so if you look at paper, I mean, all of these horses have run at least once. A couple of them have run twice. These are 2-year-old fillies. That's why I love this day. I love betting young races. Uh, you got two standouts in this race in a sense, based on past performances. You got the 6 horse, who has won his first 2 starts. One of them being the PG Johnson Stakes at Saratoga, going a mile and a 16th on turf. Actually, both his races, she's won at a mile and a 16th, and was heavily bet last time out. Went off at I believe that's 3-5. And then you have the 2 horse Free Look. Again, this horse regally bred for the turf out of a Tappet sire, out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare. This horse has run twice, just broke its maiden last time. But if you look at it, he was bet down to like just 2.5 to 1, 5 to 2 almost last time, or his first start out, and kind of hung a little bit coming home, didn't quite get there, and then he goes off next time. He goes off at 2-5 and really showed his class. And this is Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. I'm going to use the 2 horse in second because I'm looking for a little bit of value in this race, and I'm going to go for a big value here. And all my lovers and haters are going to laugh at me about this, but I'm jumping on the 5 horse. I'm just kidding, but I'm jumping on this horse for a couple of reasons. You got John Kimmel, who's a great turf trainer. You got Rosario, who's a great turf jock. Um, this horse is out of Justify sire, but he's out of a Lemon Drop Kid mare. Lemon Drop Kid is one of the best turf sires out there, both on the colt side and on the dam side. So this is a great combination of turf breeding right here. This horse is really, he was bet heavy at the Spa, and he came first and second in both of those races. But he was bet down to 4-5 his last time out. The first time out, he was bet down to 3-5. So obviously, this horse is well meant. He's had 3 really solid works since, and you got 12-1 morning line. So I'm playing the 5 on top. I'm probably gonna box him with both the 2 and the 6 in exactas, because if he does run and comes first or second, I think you'll get a little value there. But I hope I can get 12-1. I think I'm probably going to get 6-1. But right here, I'm going 5-2, and I will be using the 5 in my multi-race plays as well.
It doesn't concern you that Jose Ortiz was on the 5 both starts, and he jumps over to go on the 6, another horse that he rides twice.
Um, I can't say this other than I think there's a reason for that, and I think that reason is new agent switch for Jose Ortiz, and that's why Rosario got the melt.
Okay. All right. So I'm in the same boat here. I'm in the same camp. I'm 2-6 here. The only reason I took the 2, I like the 6 a lot, is the Horatio De Paz. I'd rather trust Chad Brown and Flo the jockey. especially on turf with the 2 free looks. So I'm 2-6 here. There's the only thing that concerns me about this race is there's little to no pace, and matter of fact, all the whole field is 4 pressers and 2 closers. I hate those races. I hate them. I like to see balance when it comes to pace. So it may help if I actually share my screen. Let me see if I can do that, Eddie. Maybe not. There it is. So look at this. It's all pressers. It's all closers. And then the other piece of it is, when I look at this one, this looks like a. Would you say the 5?
Yes.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if you look at the pace visuals and everything going on, this seems like one of those races. It could get crazy, but the 6 and the 2 both make a lot of sense. And remember what I told you about that last race distance? They're top
Yep.
3 in both last race speed figures and on the distance speed figures, and the combination sometimes is pretty deadly. So I'm 2-6 there.
Hey, Chris, do me a favor. Pull up
Yep.
the Briz PPs real quick again. I want to touch on one thing real quick on this.
Okay, go ahead.
So, if you look at the 2-horse, if you go over to the finish lines where it says, the 6-horse beat the 2 first time out. Okay, that's why you see "Be Your Best" in bold. So he beat your best, beat him. Okay, but the 2-horse he had nowhere to run. Watch replays, guys. He had nowhere to run, and then what happened next time out? He has a top last out buyer. I don't know if the Briz number is the last time out or not. I don't remember, but that's why I went with the 2, because he was favored over the 6. Why I didn't use a 6, but he also, if you look at it, from that first race, he's come back and won. So now, if you look at the 5-horse, the 5-horse has his first time out. He came second. He came back and won. And that horse that came third, Maddie's Grace, I believe, has won since then. It's not showing now, but I believe Maddie's Grace just won the other day. So it's just not updated, maybe. So always look at past performances, especially with young horses. If they're in italics like that, just like it says, "I'm just kidding," that means they came back and won after that race. So that means the horse that won that race probably ran in some good company. So keep that in mind as well when you handicap.
Yep, absolutely. That's good feed. It's funny how that works though. With certain horses, just beat other horses, and when they race again, you think maybe the other one has a chance, and I don't know what it is. They
Look, this is a tough race. Again, this is one of my value plays. I like the 5 because 12-1 morning line. I hope I can get 8-1. I'll accept 6-1, but you never know. Second time out, horses improve quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the stalkers are what interest me here. So if I'm going to take a price, I'm probably going to take the 4 or the 3, and the 4 is 9-2, 3 is 8-1. I'd probably go with the 3 with Irad ITs, to be honest with you. That's where I'd get because I think with no early speed, this is just sets up perfectly for a stalker way off the pace type. So we'll see what happens. All right, Eddie,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's go on to the next one. It's the Belmont Turf Sprint. Now, the first thing, let me just say this. This is a 6 furlongs. Very rarely do you see a lot of 6 furlong sprints. It seems like they're either 5, 5.5, or 7. So maybe that's an Aqueduct thing. I'm not really sure. But can't they come up with a better name than the Belmont Turf Sprint? Can I make a phone call and maybe call it the Eddie C. Turf Championship or something? Wouldn't it be much more interesting than the Belmont Turf Sprint Stakes?
Well, look, you got my name on the canoe at Saratoga, so I'm sure you can pull this off too.
Why the hell not? Why
All
not?
right, this is a great betting race because you could make an argument that there's not a clear-cut standout in this race. So you could go 3, 4, 5 deep, or if you have a strong opinion, you can get a nice price on a horse here. I do believe that the most interesting horse in this race to me is the 8-horse value proposition, because he just left Chad Brown's barn, and now I'm going to butcher this name, but he's with Gedalia Goodman.
Who's that guy?
What's that?
I said, who is that? I never heard of him before.
He's not a bad trainer, and it might be a she. I don't really know who
Oh,
it
all
is,
right.
but I've looked at it. I've looked at the statistics. not bad, but it's interesting. I don't know if it was maybe it was a private sale because Value Proposition is a very good horse, and Value Proposition you could call between Value Proposition. Um, Hold on, my page just jumped off the screen here. Value Proposition along with the 11 Chewing Gum and the 2 Arzak are probably the class of the race. They've been running in better competition, better quality of races than all the other ones. In this race, I landed on the 2-horse Arzak. I really like this horse quite a bit, actually. This horse has been running. Its last. My page just jumped off me again. So this horse has been, I believe, Arzak. Its last 4 races have been in two grade 3s, 2 grade 2s. He's won a grade 3. He won a $100,000 stakes at Woodbine prior to that. Had a really good run in the Troy, the grade 3 at Saratoga. He did not get the best of trips. He was bumped at the start. He was inside. He was tight. And when he finally moved out, he came flying late, and he lost by less than a length in really a 4-horse across the board finish in that race. So I really like this horse. I like the idea of the jockey change where you're getting Irad over Kimura, and Kimura's a great jockey, but Kimura's a much stronger jockey at Woodbine than he would be in a position like this. And the second place horse, and by the way, he's out of Not This Time sire, out of a Tappet mare. This horse is bred for this race. He's bred to run any distance, and obviously he can sprint, he can route, he can do whatever he wants. Really like it. And then I kind of landed on the 10-horse as a little bit of a price horse too. He's 6-1 morning line. Dancing Buck's his name. Michelle Niven with Manny Franco. This horse just missed by a nose to Thin White Oak, who I believe may end up being the favorite in this race. He's 9-2 morning line. But I like the idea of this horse. He just missed by a nose. Once again, he was 3-4 wide the whole race around. It was his first jump in stakes company in his last 6 races. This is a good quality horse, hard knocking, 5 wins, 3 seconds out of 13 starts. So again, I'm looking for value, but I'm also looking for quality value. And these horses both fit the way I look at races from a class standpoint, from a race pace standpoint. So I'm 210 here, playing the 2 as a win choice and using both of them again in my multi-race exotic plays.
And so listen. I like you thinking there. This is why we do this. I didn't really have that one on the radar, Eddie. Listen. Same thing. I'm on Arzak. The only thing that concerns me about Arzak, and it's not a mystery to anybody, but man, when I see enough sampling and the horse is 0 for 3 at the distance, that's a little red flag for me. I mean, I read Trumpeter. I don't think those 2 usually connect a lot. So I'm interested, and I just looked at the rest of the field, and I just was like, a lot of, I don't know, horses I wasn't excited about. Like I don't want to say I'm going to single Arzak, but to me, it was 2, 12, 11 here. And the pace sheets say, this is remember the corner horse, Eddie?
Yep.
This is my old corner horse right here. Here's Arzak on the top. I think if pace isn't really that fast. That's why I'm concerned about the 11. The 12 is kind of a mystery horse, and I can't even tell you why that would probably be my second pick is the 12. I'd be 212 here. I'm just curious to see what the hell did I see in the 12, because
Well,
maybe
Chris, you know what's interesting about Arzak? You say he's 0 for 3 at the distance.
Mm-hmm.
That's on turf, but he won the grade 3 6 furlongs on synthetic at Woodbine 4 races back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I went with 12 Scuttlebuzz, just I think more from the standpoint of it's the pace factor. But now that you've just had that conversation, you've warmed me up to the 10. But this Scuttlebuzz kind of looks like another horse that's just a warrior. I mean, 4 for 4 at Aqueduct, 6 for 9 at the distance. Listen, he's going to be there at the end somewhere. And I think,
I looked at the 12. I like your 12 there.
So even though the pace sheets, I might get struck by lightning, Eddie. The pace sheets don't really call the 12 out. I just, maybe the pace sheets maybe can't measure hard of a horse. So I'm trying to measure hard here.
Well, and let's make sure again our viewers, listeners, and followers understand this. When we do this show, Chris, you send me your pay sheets, but I do not look at them prior to doing the show because I want to do my handicapping and give out my
Mhm.
notebook picks. You use them and you do your handicapping and you use the pay sheets. But come tomorrow morning, even though I've given out my picks, guys, keep in mind I might add something to my notebook picks once I take a deep dive into the pay sheets, look at some of the things that these, the separations and a couple of horses that maybe I didn't look at seriously before really jump off the page and go, well, here's a horse that's got value. Because, like, for example, I think the 12 horse is what, 10 to 1 morning line?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
So, again, incorporate your handicapping into what we're talking about today. And I think you'll start figuring out ways to make this a winning combination.
Absolutely. And the 2 sticks out on the total pace, Eddie. That's my favorite angle. But like you said about the late pace, I mean, it's like throw a dart at the wall. Looks like 7, 11, 6, 9, two's in the mix.
Well, like I said, I think the seven's going to go off as a favorite. I think the seven might be the
Yeah.
horse to beat, and because of what you're showing me here on the pace sheets, I'm
Yeah.
going to incorporate the seven in my plays for sure with the two.
It's a wild card. So, all right, one more. Let's talk about the Champagne, which is a grade 1 mile. I like this race because it's got pace in the race, Eddie. This is what I like. I want pace.
Well, I love this race. It's a blessing and a shame in a sense that the Woodward's on this card because it's taken away from the young horses, and the Champagne has always been one of the best 2-year-old races for colts. Getting them ready for the Breeders' Cup and going into the 3-year-old uh, Triple Crown campaign. This is a really really good race. There's some really good quality horses, even though it's small. I could make a case for I could make a case for all. I could make a really strong case for three of them, and I'm going to make a strong case for for one of them. And well, here I'm going to talk to you real quickly about a horse that I do like, who is going to be a price. The 5-horse Blazing Sevens. I like this horse quite a bit. We spoke about Good Magic being a really good young sire for horses very proven already at an early stage of his stud career. I really want to use this horse. He ran an 85 Beyer his first time out, um, and then they threw him into the Hopeful. He came third in the Hopeful, but he ran into Forte and the 6-horse Gulfport there. But it was also a sloppy track. Um, there's a lot of people that fell in love with the 6-horse Gulfport here, who's out of an Okomo sire, out of an Unbridled Song Dam. They paid $275 for this horse, obviously well meant. Ran an 83 Beyer first time out, 91 Beyer second time out, won both of those. Has come second since then in the Saratoga Special Grade 2 and the Hopeful Grade 1. Just missed there. But I landed on the 3 Verifying. It's a Justify horse, first time out, 85 Beyer. They bet him down to 2-5, first time out. He's been working great since. Please pull up those works. So I want to show what I mean by working great since, because he hasn't run since August 27th. And since then, he ran 4 furlongs at Churchill Downs in 48-4. Then he comes back, works 5 furlongs at Churchill in 1 minute and 3, which was 8 out of 52. And then his last work was again 1 minute and 1, 5 out of 60. This horse is training really, really well coming into this race. He gets Rosario stays on for Brad Cox. Those guys are hitting at 30% over the last year. A regally bred horse. I'm going 3. And look, I was all about Gulfport, but I'm going to try to beat him for value purposes. So I'm going 3-5. 3 Verifying with Blazing Sevens, the 5-horse second.
Okay. Well, great minds, what they say, great minds think alike. So I went with the 3 here too. I like the 3 over the 6-4, and I got looking at it. And I got these are the races that I really like. Now, if I'm playing a tournament tomorrow, which by the way I probably will, even though we share these pace sheets and everything, and I'll share opinions. But I'm looking at race number 10, and what I see is, and I'm see if I can. Where's my pace sheets? Here they are, right here. So here's what I see here. Even though up here you see that late speed, you see the 3, the 6, the 1, the 4. Here's that 5. Now remember, back speed horses just need to be at the right place at the right time. This is what I'm very interested in here. This is a mile. If this was 6 furlongs, I wouldn't be as excited. This is at a mile. Look at all those speed. Now, I could say, well, they're young horses. We probably don't know exactly what their running style is. Take a shot. But when I went back and looked at it, it looks like a lot of speed. This is why I like this 5, Eddie. I'm not saying the pace could get pretty damn hot because I got it fast. I got 31 is the point speed points, and I've got 5 early speed horses. The only one that sticks out to me, pick the one that's different, dare to be different, is that 5. Not saying the 5 is going to win, but that to me is the way you're going to build some value here. So I think you go. I like the 3. I would go 3-5 weighted. And listen, if I'm going to do it another way too, I would go 6-4 over the 5, and then I'd probably go 5-3 on an exactas. That's how I would play that in my head, just thinking about this race and how it shakes out. But here's the best part about the pace sheets. This is what the race looks like the day before, 2 days before, 3 days before. When scratches come out, that's when stuff. This is when the magic happens. When you take horses out of this, things change. Pace scenarios change. It
Well, Chris,
ranks amongst the few.
yeah, this is something that again, I'm going to keep pushing. This is why I love young races, because it goes back to the homework that I've been doing for seriously 25 years of keeping track of lineage of great sires. You got 6 horses in this race. 4 of them are out of the deputy minister lineage, and of those 4, 2 of them are out of Justify, and 2 of them are out of Good Magic. So you got 2 of the best proven young sires in the race, and those are horses 2, 3, 4, and 5. So take that for what it's worth. But I will tell you, in my multi races, I'm using 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Is that? No, wait.
Yeah.
I lied. I'm using 3, 4, and 5 in
All
my
right.
multi race. I'm trying to beat Gulfport just for value purposes. I think Gulfport's going to go off at even money or 4 to 5.
You think Gulfport's going to be the favorite?
Yes, I do. I mean,
Hmm.
if you look at it, here's why. Gulfport has the 2 highest speed figures in the race off of buyer speed figures. First time out, he had a really good figure. And then of 83. Then he came back with a 91 in the Bashford Stakes at Churchill, and then he came 2 seconds, beaten by some really good horses that have come out. 40 or Forte, he beat him, but he beat Blazing Sevens in the Hopeful. So this horse has been running in top quality competition. I think from a betting perspective, I think the true handicapper, the smart player, is gonna put their money on the 6. I know people are going to bet the 3 because of Justify, and that win was very impressive first time out. Rosario stays with them on Cox, So, but I can't wait for tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I think you could. I think you can. This is a good try race too, because I play like 3-5-4, 3-5-6. You could probably do something over in the top, but hopefully the star works out here because you see it on the form, Eddie.
There you
There's
go.
there's your little star right there in your 3. So we'll see. He's the only one that's got a star, but all these horses are in form because they've everybody's coming off a pretty thing. So all right, sir. Well, we just 49-minute that whole card. So what else you got, Eddie?
A couple things that we just forget to say, or maybe we just haven't thought about it enough. Couple things for all you guys. We are on Facebook as well. We obviously are on Twitter. We have a live feed streaming as well. But we've got a website now, the new website. Please jump on there, www.PaceSheets.com. But on Twitter, You've also got PaceSheets on Twitter. You also have at HorsePlayerX. That's Chris on Twitter. And for me, you've got at Notebook Picks. That's one of my accounts. And then you have, of course, at It's Me, Eddie C. So, you can always get information from us. You can always have fun with us there. And you can always DM us with questions. And if we can help out on a DM versus putting it out in Twitterverse, that's what we're here to do.
Yep. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I will tell you that I really do appreciate all the positive comments and the feedback that everybody sent. They've either DM'd or sent an email. I just, listen, this is, again, I want to stress this is in the works. We're still working through things. We're still trying to figure out, and it probably will never be perfect because that's how I am, a perfectionist. And I want to make sure everything looks right. But I just appreciate everybody for following us, everybody that's just giving me some good feedback on this whole thing. And I look forward to having a great day at Aqueduct. So BAQ. We'll be back again next week.
Royal Aqueduct.
Royal Aqueduct. Have a good time, everybody.